Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier. Yes, I am. And I'm happy to be here with you guys because we're going to be talking about something that's kind of, annoying. And I had promised earlier in this week that I was going to be speaking about this. And I really wanted to get back to it. I really wanted to talk about this because it's a big deal. And I know some people may not be thinking about it right this moment. It's the end of the week. We're going on to another week, and it's out of mind, out of memory. But we shouldn't forget. We shouldn't forget what happened this Columbus Day. And I was talking about this back on Monday, many people may recall. And I had been talking about the incident with P.L.O.T, because that group, a very secretive, fringe, far left element of the Democratic Party, had decided that on the 14th in Binghamton, New York, that while a parade was about to start for the Columbus Day Parade, something that's been going on for 60 years, that they needed to take that moment to hijack the event and to make it about their issues, about the things they wanted to talk about. And they wanted to call that a protest. And I have to tell you, it's not a protest. It is anything but a protest when you have to go out and you hijack the event of other people. And I want to be very fair, and I want to go over this because if we forget this, if we allow this to pass, if we allow the members of P.L.O.T, which is also known as the Progressive Leaders of Tomorrow, if we allow them to get away with what they're doing, it's going to happen again, and it's going to get worse. Will it be Halloween? Will it be Thanksgiving? Will it be Christmas? Will it be every single event and every holiday? And how badly will it disrupt our lives? These are questions we need to be aware of, because if we allow this to happen in our community and in communities across the nation, this is the future of America. And it's a very scary future indeed. Matter of fact, I want to go right to it. What actually happened? What is it that we're going to be talking about? Let's put it in context so that everyone understands exactly what was going on that day. Now, as we're watching this, which is live, this was video taken live at the event. I did not take the video. But what we're seeing is a group of individuals, many of them in masks, that are actively taking part in a disruption. And in fact, let me stop it right there, because it's important to understand this is exactly what they were looking to do. This is a disruption. And we know it was a disruption. We know this was planned. And we know that they were intending to break up, to stop the parade. Now, they want to call that a protest. And let's really take a moment to just backtrack for a second. When you go out and you actively deny other human beings, other United States citizens, the right to be able to live their lives, you have infringed on their rights. You no longer are just having your free speech. You're actively doing something to another person. And if I were to be a liberal, if I were to be a progressive, that would be called a microaggression or an attack. I'm not saying that, but that's what the language that they use. And they use it very carefully. So we're seeing in the video that these individuals have committed, look at some of the people that are watching this in terror. They have affected other Americans, and they have caused them to have fear and questions for their safety and what is going on. This is not an expression of someone's freedom of speech. And it's a big difference. These are people, if you see in the background, all around, walking around, these are people who are trying to have their time, their expression, their joy. They were trying to enjoy Columbus Day. And individuals, several of them in masks, decided to hijack that. That's not freedom of speech. That's not a protest. That's disturbing the peace. And if I were a liberal, that would be also called an attack. That's a physical attack and an emotional attack. It's an attack. It's a microaggression by the language of the progressive left. Except when they do things, because when they do it, it's okay. I mean, watch this. Now, this gentleman walked over to these individuals. They've broken this up. And that woman, by the way, just so you can see, that young black woman over there, right over here, if I'm not mistaken, that's a woman who's running for the Binghamton City Council. It's a long day. It's a long day. Okay, so let's get this right. What does this really mean? What does it mean that these people were going out there, that they were making these kind of actions? Well, the real simple answer is they did this on purpose. Their goal was to infringe on your rights. And they plan to do it again. And they did this on purpose. They knew this was going to happen. They knew they were going to violate the law. They expected to be arrested. And we know that this gentleman that you see on screen right now, that's Matt Ryan. He's the former mayor of Binghamton. He is a well-known liberal. He's very much on the left. Many consider him a progressive. I believe he considers himself a progressive. And he admitted on the radio the day after that this violation of people's rights took place by the progressive leaders of tomorrow. Matt Ryan himself admitted he had foreknowledge of this, that he was in meetings with the members of P.L.O.T and tried to dissuade them on this because he knew it was a violation of law. Now, he didn't say that last part. He did try to dissuade them. And I have to believe that he was trying to dissuade them because he knew this was a violation of law, that this wasn't a protest. This was disturbing the peace at the least, if not several other laws. And the thing that's really interesting is Matt Ryan did not decide to tell the police. Now, that's kind of important because Matt Ryan is an attorney. He's a lawyer. And he had taken an oath of the courts that he would not allow crimes to go on like that. So he should have, according to his law license, made the police aware that a crime was about to be committed. He did not. Instead, he let them go forward and commit the crimes that they did. And that's kind of a bad thing, I think. So what we're seeing is P.L.O.T is willing to break laws. They're willing to get other individuals involved in their plot, their plans to break the law in violation of their oaths. And they don't expect you to have any kind of consequence. They don't expect any consequence, and you should be just happy about that. As they cheer, and they tell you that they're protesting a genocide at the Broome County jails, and because they're fighting against ICE, and because it's they're eco fanatics and they want green energy, and the list goes on and on and on. You know what? They have their demands that they expect the public to live to. They have demands that you have to live up to for them to be satisfied and to leave you alone. And if you look at, this is the Medium, protesters disrupt Binghamton's Columbus Day Parade to condemn Broome County jail deaths, among other things. Because then their plans, which I have emails of their plan, they were protesting ICE as well, and illegal immigration as well. And if you look at the demands that they have made, you have to wonder, wait a minute, you're making a protest, you're breaking the law, and you're saying that you have demands, that you're going to continue to break the law and infringe on the rights of other Americans until your demands are met. You know, there's a word for that. There's a term that's used for that. It's called terrorism. That's what it's called. It's called terrorism. It's not called protesting. It's called terrorism. You're using a terror tactic, invading people's lives and disrupting what they're doing so that you can go around and get what you want. That's terrorism. That's a terrorism tactic. And you have to wonder, because the members of P.L.O.T, as you saw in the video, and the video goes on for about 3 minutes, these are people who are in a secret organization that has secret meetings, that hide their face from the public, that are invading events and imposing their will, intimidating the public, or at least attempting to try and get what they want. And how dare you not do what they want? They have demands, and they will continue to intimidate and terrorize your events and your lives until they get what they want. That sounds very democratic, doesn't it? Sounds really, well, I guess the word would be fascist, except P.L.O.T is pretty much synonymous with ANTIFA. And ANTIFA are supposed to be anti-fascists, except they use the tactics of fascists. We see that everywhere across the country that they wind up being. And we're seeing that here in Binghamton, in the southern tier of New York. And if you think this is limited to just the southern tier of New York, be well aware it's coming to your town too. It will affect you as well. And that's a sad thing, because they just move greater and greater groups. And they're trying to take over portions of the government. And that's why we have individuals who are now running for government, like Aviva for city council. She's running for city council, and she's upset about the fact that the demands of her organization, P.L.O.T, that she is a member of, or apparently is a member of and or supports. She's very vague on that. She won't tell people, but that she is very much upset that their demands are not being met. That's kind of, again, that's what you would hear from someone who took someone hostage. That's something you would hear from someone robbing a bank. That's something you would hear from someone who's a terrorist. You have to acquiesce to our demands. You have to do what we want, or we will enact violence against you. Verbal violence, physical violence. What they're calling a protest at the parade, that was violence. The fact that no one was physically attacked in the way we think of, like a boxing match, a fight, doesn't make it less violent, nor does it make what they did any less dangerous. But Aviva would say, no, this is perfectly fine. The mayor is wrong. The mayor Rich David of Binghamton, he just struck out against these people who are just letting their voices be heard. And then you have to stop and think about that for a second. The mayor doesn't arrest anyone. The police do. And they broke the law, so they got arrested, which you would expect. In fact, most of us would demand that if someone is breaking the law in the presence of the police, at the very least, the police should arrest that individual, regardless of their skin color, regardless of their political beliefs, regardless of who that person may be. But Aviva didn't think so. Aviva running for City Council of Binghamton, nor did Ms. Salka, who's also running for the City Council of Binghamton, who goes even further, and the two women are mentioning how they are members of P.L.O.T, how they do support the use of violence, the use of terrorist tactics in a secret organization that has secret meetings that will not allow the police or members of the press to be present. In fact, it's been several members of the press, WMBF in particular, as well as every other major news station, including and also members of the press like myself, who've been looking for the members of P.L.O.T to come on record and speak about what they believe, to talk about these demands that they're making of the public. They won't speak. They won't talk to anyone. It's a secret organization. You don't get to the public, do not get to be part of their conversation. You don't get to hear what they're talking about. You don't get to have a voice in their demands. You just get to hear their demands, and you have to acquiesce, because that's democracy. They made a choice, and you have to suffer for it. Now, that's what P.L.O.T is looking for. This is what the progressive leaders of tomorrow are looking for. This is what people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the Democratic Socialists, what Tom Perez of the DNC calls the future of the Democratic Party. I have to tell you, I don't think that's democratic at all. I don't think anyone in the Democratic Party, well, the true Democrats believe that. And I have to believe that even the fringe members of the Democratic Party don't believe this. I mean, these people are so mindless. When they're talking to Deborah Gelson, she's a woman who's running for the DA in Broome County. She's a Democrat. And when Deborah Gelson was challenged by P.L.O.T to make a statement, to say whether she would have arrested the protesters, the members of P.L.O.T who broke the law during a parade and invaded the pursuit of happiness of everyone in the parade and everyone around the parade. And when she said, well, I can't speak about it because it's an ongoing case, which it is, and they said, well, that's the wrong answer. How dare you actually cite law and legal precedent? How dare you cite that? You must be an evil person. You're horrible. You're not a true Democrat, or in their words, trash. Your silence is comment enough. I'm quoting what they wrote. This is what the members of P.L.O.T believe. It's absolute obedience, or it's nothing at all. And that's not to say that I like Deborah Gelson. I don't. I don't agree with her politics. As a person, she's fine. Her politics I don't agree with. And yet P.L.O.T wants to go forward. So let me wrap this up, because it's a little long. It could be even longer. When we have organizations, secret organizations, that have secret meetings, that actively hide their voice from the public, hide their voice from the news media, that when they are present in the public, hide their faces, hide their identities, and make demands of the public, and their answer is, you will either comply or we will do more. That's a threat. That's a threat. And we have to understand that if we listen to this and we accept these threats, then we will suffer for it. And if we don't, if we fight back, understand that their answer is, well, then you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're an ageist. There's something wrong with you. The answer is no. There's something wrong with them. And we really need to remember this, because when it comes to Halloween or to Thanksgiving or Christmas, whatever the next parade, the next public event, when they do this again and maybe become violent, maybe they become like Portland, where they attack innocent individuals walking down the street, are we going to pay attention then? Is it too late? We need to stop this ahead of time. We need to understand. And we need to understand that when there are people who are running for elected office who believe that it is perfectly fine for some people to impose their will and their desires and their demands on you, they're not talking about freedom. And you have to really wonder what they're going to do if they get elected and get more power than what they have right now. I don't know. It's something I meant to talk about earlier in the week. Had to get some new technology integrated and work, of course. So I didn't get a chance to speak about it before, but I wanted to speak about it today. Maybe you agree. Maybe I rambled too much. Maybe you think I wasn't strong enough in what I was saying. You let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing from you. Get in touch, let us know, and I'll be back again soon with a different story to talk about. I hope everyone will be well.